What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, first of all, let me give a shout out to Fanon Boxing and Ticket TV. They've already done videos talking about this topic. All right, if you're not subscribed to Fanon Boxing, I think it's Fannon Boxing. Please subscribe to Fanon, and of course, if you're not subscribed to Ticket TV, please subscribe to Ticket TV. So Floyd Mayweather, who is always crying about something. All right, this motherfucker's always crying about something. He's not getting his respect. He's not getting the just due that he deserves. He's constant with this guy. Feels that he was snubbed for the AP Male Athlete of the Decade. All right, over LeBron James and various others, including Usain Bolt and Tom Brady. And in an appearance on, I believe, was a podcast, I guess, called Drink Champs. He said that he had been overlooked for the award. Quote, he said, "I love LeBron James, but when we're talking about athlete of the decade, that's me. That's me hands down. We're talking about from 1996 to 2020, and I've never received athlete of the decade. At the top of Forbes, and I'm my own boss." Well, let's first of all, let me say this. First of all, I don't count these dudes' money like hoes, you know what I'm saying? But from what I hear and read from people, Floyd made a lot of money. I mean, he's the greatest, money maker when it comes to boxing. But you also spend money as fast as you make it. And a lot of guys is trying to insinuate that you broke. I don't know. I don't know his financial status, but I'm willing to bet that LeBron James is probably more financially stable, and Tom Brady. They're probably more financially stable than this guy. Last I read, I know it's not all money, but it's your overall worth. Last I read, LeBron was worth $670 million, and the rate that he's going to be a billionaire before he retires, which is something Floyd pretends to be. Also, Floyd, you retired in 2017, so the last couple of years of the decade, you were not an active fighter, so that counts against you. All right, that counts against you in these things. All right. So let's go on. Let's see what he said. Um, he's talking about sponsors. He's saying his lack of sponsorships hurt his chances. No Gatorade behind me, no Sprite behind me, no Nike behind me. You got to realize these are billion-dollar companies, and we like to call it placement. So if they paying, you get what you want if you're paying enough. But if we just going off honestly, don't you mean honesty, Floyd? Sometimes money can't buy some shit. I'm the athlete of the decade. Of the last 2 decades, actually. Now let me say something about this. Number one, Floyd, it's your fucking fault that you don't have big product placement sponsors. Okay? Why? Because you're a controversial asshole. That's why. It's your fucking fault. All right? It's your fucking fault. If you hadn't gone the route you went, all right, with your personality, all right, if you had went, even if you, I understand some people say, oh, well, it's not keeping it real. But look, if you were more advertiser friendly, all right, if your personality was a certain way, if you were more like, I don't know, I don't want to compare athletes, man, but if his personality was different, let's say he was like Jordan or Tiger Woods or something like that, then he would have that big product placement. Maybe his name would be mentioned more, okay, and maybe the public perception will be different. Also, we just got to be honest about something too. Boxing as a whole has slid from the public's consciousness over the past couple of decades. Boxing has went from being one of the top sports out there when Muhammad Ali was active. Like when Muhammad Ali was active, boxing was shit. You can make an argument it was almost on par or up there with the other two major sports. Baseball in the '60s was still the #1 sport. Then I wanted to say boxing was second. in the 60s. Then football. But Monday Night Football changed all of that. Monday Night Football with Howard Cosell and all those guys, that they changed the trajectory, the popularity of of football to the point where it became no more sport. Then baseball, and then maybe boxing was right there. Mike Tyson kept it afloat for a while, but it was still a clear third to the other two. But after Tyson, man, boxing has really fallen off. All right, you've had some great fighters, but as far as overall popularity, it's not there, and that hurts it, and that hurts his cause. How often do you hear ESPN talk about boxing other than Floyd Mayweather, or maybe Conor McGregor, or maybe Manny Pacquiao? They don't talk about it anymore. So that hurts. That hurts the cause, man. And then also, I had to do a little research for this one. He said that he should have won Athlete of the Decade for the 2000s. How do you figure you're gonna win it over Tiger Woods when Tiger Woods won 12 fucking majors in the 2000s? In the 2000s, three of them in 2000. Are you fucking serious? Do you know that the vast majority, 99% of boxers, 99% of golfers go their whole careers without winning a fucking major? Tiger won 12 in a decade. That's why everybody thought Tiger was going to obliterate Jack Nicklaus's record. Not Jack Nicklaus's. Jack Nicklaus' record of 18. All right. Now he slowed down considerably after that. I think he has 15 majors, but he's probably not going to catch Jack. But that decade, Tiger Woods was the fucking man. And yeah, product placement does play a role in that. But like I said, that's your fault, Floyd. That's your fucking fault. Now, Floyd's major argument is that he's 50-0. He never lost. I guess he's going to say, LeBron lost in the finals and Tiger lost tournaments and, Tom Brady lost, Super Bowls and playoff games and, uh, you know, uh, Usain Bolt's lost races, whatever. But that's the thing. And Phenom Boxing made this point, and Ticket reiterated it. They didn't get to pick and choose who they fought. Okay? You did. You did. You got to pick and choose. And let's look at the resume. Let's look at it. Let's look at it closely now over the last decade. Now, over the last decade, Floyd was 10-0 with 2 knockouts. The 2 knockouts being against Victor Ortiz and Conor McGregor. Now, when he fought Shane Mosley was on the downside of his career. All right? He won a unanimous decision, but Shane was on the downside. When he fought Victor Ortiz clearly was not the best competition out there. If I remember certainly correctly, it was other guys around that time that he could have fought, like a Paul Williams or something like that, before Paul Williams had that accident. All right? Now, Miguel Cotto, Floyd won a unanimous decision, but I remember Miguel Cotto giving him all that he could have gotten in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Miguel Cotto, I remember having to fight like 8 rounds to 4 or something like that for Floyd, but you could have easily said 7 rounds to 5. A few people thought Cotto fought a draw. I don't know about that, but Miguel Cotto fought him very, very well. Robert Ghost Guerrero, the next opponent, was probably the weakest link of these guys up until Conor McGregor. Canelo Alvarez, Floyd beat, but he fought Canelo when Canelo was very green. All right, Floyd used his ring savvy, his experience, and defensive prowess to beat Canelo Alvarez, but I don't know if he'll be able to beat the Canelo Alvarez of today. Now, Marcus Maidana gave Floyd all that smoke when they fought the first time. Some people thought Maidana fought to a draw, even though Floyd was gifted the majority decision. All right, in the rematch, Floyd clearly won, but it was still a decent fight. And then the so-called fight of the century between him and Manny Pacquiao, or the fight of the decade, it didn't live up to expectations. It was a boring fucking fight. Now, Floyd won the fight, you know what I'm saying? But once again, a lot of people will tell you Floyd could have fought tougher competition out there. And then the fight that was supposed to be the last fight of his career against Andre Berto, that made him 49-0, he could have fought better fighters out there. He fought a guy that was handpicked for him to beat. And then he came out of retirement to fight a guy that never fought in boxing before, Conor McGregor, for an easy fucking victory. All right? I'm sorry, man, but just because you're undefeated, it don't make you the best, man. Rocky Marciano's 49-0. He was 49-0 as heavyweight, and he almost never comes up when it comes to the best heavyweights of all time. The best heavyweights, you hear names like Muhammad Ali, you hear Larry Holmes, you hear Joe Louis, okay? You might hear about, other guys like maybe Sonny Liston, Joe Frazier. They're like on the next tier. You might hear George Foreman. All these guys got losses, but they also fought superior competition to Rocky Marciano. All right? It penalizes you when you pick and choose who you fight. Okay? LeBron James, for that decade, the 2010s, the 2010s, I'm not going to include the year he was with Cleveland because the beginning of the year was in the old decade. From his time in Miami until his first year with the Lakers, that's the entire decade. Every one of those years except for his year with the Lakers, LeBron went to the NBA Finals. All right? LeBron went to the NBA Finals. Every year, sets 8 consecutive appearances in the NBA Finals. And he won 3 NBA championships. And during that time period, individually, all right, individually, LeBron James was brilliant. In 650 games, regular season games, LeBron averaged 26.6 points, 7.7 rebounds, 7.5 assists, 1.5 steals on 53% shooting from the floor, 35.6% shooting from three-point range, and 73% from the foul line. And in that period of time, LeBron James was, just absolutely fucking sensational. All right? I don't do this a lot because I'm not Nick Wright. I just don't go off of stats. But during that time period, LeBron James had accumulated 123.3 win shares. All right? During that time period, LeBron James led the NBA in PER 3 times, led the league in games played in minutes once, led the league in offensive win shares twice, total win shares 3 times, win shares per 48 minutes 3 times. And, he was just phenomenal, man. He was absolutely phenomenal. And during the playoffs, he was even more phenomenal, all right, during the decade. Like I said, he won 3 NBA championships, including helping to beat, along with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, because they don't get enough credit, defeating a team that won 73 games in the regular season. During that time period, LeBron James played 168 playoff games. He averaged 28.8 points per game in the playoffs to go along with 9.1 rebounds, 6.9 assists, 1.8 steals on 50.5% shooting from the floor and 33.8% shooting from the three-point range and 74% from the foul line. He led the NBA in minutes 3 times during that time period, in games played 5 times, or shared the lead in that, and led the league in scoring in playoffs as far as average twice. And not to mention the fact that he was the face of the NBA during that time period. And we all know that. We complain about it. He's the face of the league in a way that we haven't seen before. All right, to the point where you got journalists rooting for guys to come play with him to help him win more titles. All right, so that's one thing you can't argue about. LeBron is the face of the NBA, and the NBA is vastly, infinitely more popular than boxing. And you can't really make the argument that Floyd is the face of boxing. He's, it's disputed. It's disputed. You could say that it's possibly Manny Pacquiao for stretches. You know what I'm saying? Or you could say Canelo was the face for a while. You could say Triple G was the face of boxing for a while. You get what I'm saying with that one? Even going before the 2010s, you could say that the face of boxing for a while was Oscar De La Hoya. Maybe for a little while it was Bernard Hopkins for a stretch, maybe a little bit. Or you could say it was uh, Shane Mosley. But for the last decade, the face of the NBA has been LeBron James. The face of the NFL, for the most part, has been Tom Brady. So those hurt, to me, the arguments for Floyd Mayweather. And plus, let's just be honest, man. Floyd's an asshole. Floyd's an asshole. And as a black man, I don't particularly care for him. That shouldn't be part of the argument, but it is. He's an asshole. Whenever it was opportunities where he could stick up for his people, he chose not to do so. So that hurts him as far as outside the ring. You just don't root for the fucking guy. He could have been a cultural icon for us, but he chose the Devils. You know, he chose the Devils over us. It's just Floyd is not in tune with these times. We live in a hypersensitive, hyperpolitical time. Floyd's personality would have been best suited for the 90s. I think if Floyd fought in the 90s when we didn't have social media and he wasn't able to say so much stupid shit or so much stupid shit didn't get put out there, and Floyd would have been, the environment in boxing was different. Floyd would have been forced more to fight guys he didn't want to fight. And maybe he wouldn't have had that L, but maybe he wouldn't have that zero. But the respect factor for Floyd would be far different. All right. But that's pretty much it, man. You know what I'm saying? I think I have no problem with LeBron getting athlete of the decade. No problem whatsoever. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Jordan was the athlete of the decade in the 90s. I don't know how long they've been doing that, but I would suspect if it was the athlete of the decade in the 80s, it was probably Magic Johnson. Guys who you expect to get it. Yeah, like I said, product placement, being marketable does play a part in these things, but that's Floyd's fault. But tell me what you guys think.